Well, welcome, race fans, and a very special welcome it is to the start of the season 4.2 here of Deviant Racing. My name is Webbo, and I'm very thrilled to be invited back to join you guys for another season of this fabulous GT Racing Elite division of tremendous action and incident and jam-packed setup that we have here at Deviant. We are really looking forward to this one. Here are the brand new teams. We are expecting brand new liveries, of course. On top of that, we have the team Wunderfahrt or Wunderfahrt. I'm not sure. I think it's probably Wunderfahrt if it is to be read in German in the Audi, made up of Zen and Floody. Team NASCAR. So I'm going to have some fun decoding the new liveries, I'm sure. Will be in the Nissan GTR Nismo, and that is Nismo. Finally, Nismo and a Nismo and Arcane. Then we have Team Polio Loco, which is Junkai and Preston driving the Honda NSX. Team Builder Racing, made up of Zanshin and Larry, will be driving the Lamborghini Huracan. So expect that to be promising. Team Sony Interactive drew the short straw, I think, racing the Peugeot RCZ, but don't need time and Chaotica at the wheel. And then, of course, we have Glovas and Mercury in 404 Motorsport, a really interesting team concept. Now, I've been able to gather a little bit about the teams, but actually I haven't received a great deal of information. So I'm going to find out through the course of the season and possibly this stream most assuredly. What they're all about, but I do understand, I think, the concept of Team 404 Motorsport, and we'll get into that later. And then finally, the final team is made up of Comacopa, team captain, and Camzilla. They are the Predator racing team, and that's not the movie Predator or the movie franchise of Predator. That is actually going to be, I believe, at least natural apex predators in themed cars, if not marine predators, as would be fitting for Comacopa and his career. But certainly it is natural, the natural world predators. The safety car will be driven by Saito, and we will have Mercury race directing for us. The next thing I need to bring you, I think, here is the calendar for this season as we get ready for a typical 7-race calendar across the very normal for Deviant Racing. 14 weeks of action, and I hope I've got that right. I haven't actually looked at every single connotation of it. Of course, we're starting here in Interlagos, and I've become quite a frequent attendee at Interlagos in the recent weeks. Then we go to Fuji for a late morning race, as is relatively typical in Fuji. We'll go for the Tokyo South counterclockwise in the twilight conditions on June 15th, and then we will go to Trial Mountain reverse, interestingly reverse, in the evening. That should look very good indeed on June 29th. On July 13th, Deep Forest reverse in the afternoon, and then we will be July 27th, Dragon Trail Gardens reverse. I don't think I've seen anybody racing on Dragon Trail Gardens in reverse before. Sunrise with no safety car. And then, of course, we finish the season at Brands Hatch. I don't know if that's Indy or GP. I anticipate it'll be the GP circuit in the afternoon, but expect rain in August in the UK on August 10th. Well, the drivers are getting ready for this session and this season to begin. I haven't actually seen qualifying underway just yet, and we'll have a look at some cars going fast, shall we? As we join S. Berman, who is driving here in the Lamborghini Huracan, and I think, unfortunately, his livery hasn't come through. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try the livery fix. Has it come through? Where? Let me see. Where are we? S. Berman. No, that's the incorrect livery. So I'm going to try the fix before it starts here. Let's see if the fix will work once I'm in the lobby. I may have to reset and rejoin the lobby for you, but I'm sure you prefer that over these things missing out. So let's have a look at the spectate mode. If not, I'm going to have to try and live with this particular livery, unfortunately. But S. Berman here, I think that he is reserving, because I don't see him on the list of entrants for today's GTDPro roster. So the Lamborghini Huracan, it should be Larry and Zanshin. S. Berman then in the lime green, unfortunately for us. I think I may have to re-enter the lobby. I tell you what, I'm going to do that momentarily, just so that we can try and get these correct liveries set. And hopefully I'm not going to cause a huge amount of panic. Hi to Glovas, who's watching on the live chat. Do say hello if you're joining us today, and let me know who you are here to support. If not me, I'm sure not me, but do let me know who you're here to support for racing, and hopefully I can get these liveries sorted for, particularly for S. Berman, who was the first one there to have a look at. Let's see if that has worked as we go through the order. There it is, brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So we've got Zen starting his flying lap then. We will just see him through the next few corners. This is, of course, the Curva 1 Estocena into the Curva do Sol. And this actually feels like quite a slow time here for Zen. Slow running at the moment. I think he's going for a second warm-up lap here, potentially. Let's have a look behind him. Nobody troubling him behind. Looks like nearly all the cars have made it out. We should obviously have our safety car driver staying in the pits. As Mathieu Glover says, 30 cars. Well, I'm sure you've been responsible for designing at least one team's car, if not 2 or 3, as you often are. Don't forget, of course, after this race, we go straight into the GTD series. So we'll be looking forward to seeing the liveries applied onto that team and the new driver pairings and combinations and teams. But for now, at least, we will follow Zen, the reigning champion, of course, of GTDPro. And let's see what happens here as he gets a little bit out on the curb, perhaps, in the Lamborghini. I don't know personally how well it rides the curbs on exit, but you've got to say that out of Yunsao corner, that is probably not the ideal preparation for a flying lap. We have 10 minutes of qualifying, of course, as usual. Hi to Jim, who's watching on as well. I love that carbon fiber dashboard reflection in the sunshine here as Jun Kai goes fastest first of all. Zeno looks very calm here on board, but it was Jun Kai who went fastest at 32.9. Here comes Komakopa on a fairly slow lap. Nismo always there or thereabouts, but actually qualifying fairly pedestrian here. We've got Arcane going into 4th place. Let's find S. Berman across the line. He stays into 7th with Chaotica coming through. Chaotica managing an 8th position. And then we have Mercury in 9th. Nismo down in 10th now. And Larry firing out of that final corner and heading up and over the line. And Larry goes 4th. And that will be a very welcome 4th position for Larry then. At this time, the first run of qualifying is complete. Junkai don't need time. Zen, despite everything looking very, very calm in the cockpit, into 3rd position, and Larry in that 4th place. So 31 thousandths of a second separating Junkai and don't need time. Then Zen a further 26 thousandths of a second away. It is absolutely ridiculously close there in the top 3. Larry a little bit further back. I think that said 3 or 4 tenths of a second back. But here is Jun Kai, and already coming out of Jun Sao, shall we say. But Jun Kai then heading up and over the line. I'm quite happy with this lap, and it's a 4/10 of a second improvement from Jun Kai. What can don't need time do? With this one, we'll check out Zen. Whoa, Komakopa into 2nd place as well, from way further back on the soft tyres, of course, as most drivers will be at this stage. Zen has crossed the line already, so he's gone for a bit of a cool down lap, I think, on the tyres. That means that then Junkai is ahead of Komakopa by a very small margin. Don't need time is 4.5 tenths of a second away from the front row of the grid, and certainly the provisional pole position. There he comes then, up and over the hill to cross the start-finish line. He'll stay left, will he? Not quite. I don't think he's happy with this lap. So he crosses the line again and sets another time then. Jann is finishing up. Who is at the head of this particular position on track? Well, it is Jann right now. Of course, I tend to stay in driver eye view for qualifying because we get the real detail of the driver's laps, and then we'll go off board for the main race as usual. Kai instructing Larry to run people off the road. Of course, we don't do that. It's just a joke from Kai. Here we go. Up the hill once again from Jann. That was out of Yonsao. 6 minutes have elapsed from qualifying. Jann heading in for a second set of new soft tyres for this run. Floody will try and head up into the higher echelons, and he goes into row 2. That is a personal best for him. He's only 4 tenths of a second away from pole position and 8 thousandths of a second away from Komakopa. How about this tremendous pace from Jann? Nismo slots the car into second place then, the Flying Dutchman here in second place, heading up onto the provisional front row by the tiniest of margins, though Jann has a 3.5 tenth of a second gap at this time from the other drivers at least. Here is S. Berman getting to grips with new cars. All of our drivers. S. Berman here in the Lamborghini Huracan, I think reserving for Team Sony, Team Builder. And very loose on the way out of Descida do Lago and partially blocking the track. In fact, he nerfs it into the barrier once again in order to make sure he gets out of the way. Let's have a look perhaps at Jann, who is on an outlap at the moment. Trying to get to the driver on his way up the hill here. My apologies for skipping through everybody. Here we go. It's Jann once again. He's on a hot one. He's just set a 32.423. which is a tiny fraction faster than he's been before. And up and across the line, and it's faster even still in P1 from Jann. Tremendous work then, with 8 minutes elapsed from qualifying. He skips straight back to the pit lane for a change of tyres, and another fast run. I think Nismo no quicker on that run as we head through into Yonsao with Komakopa. Jann still in 6th place right now. And here comes Komakopa. Komakopa in the Ferrari 458 Italia. We have grid starts here, which means the Ferrari will start beautifully. So we will wait to see if he can jump off the line, as we see the Scuderia do so very often. Komakopa in 3rd place at the moment. Let's check out where Jann is. Always a strong favourite. Certainly we'll look at his next sector. 43.4 was his previous one, which was an outlap, I believe, as this lap is just over half a tenth of a second slower than he's been before. He needs to find nearly 7 tenths of a second to get onto that front row of the grid, held currently by Jann and Nismo, who I don't think are going to be able to start and finish another flying lap. So are staying in the pit lane just to give the best opportunity to their rivals here with the least amount of traffic on the circuit. This is Jann. Komakopa 3rd, Floody 4th. Don't need time, all ahead of Jann at this stage. We'll see if Jann can pick it back up here. The driver's getting used to the Audi R8, which has that beautiful outboard throttle harmonic through the exhaust. Absolutely glorious sound, this Audi. Not so much inside the cabin, but you really do get a great feel for it. Here's a small picture of it anyway, as Wunderfahrt heads up and over the line. Jann, nearly 4 tenths of a second slower than he's been before. Qualifying is, the checkered flag is out, I should say, as Don't Need Time stays 5th, excuse me. Floody is in 4th place. The tyres are screaming for mercy. Looks like Copa is done and dusted, won't go any quicker on this period in the lap. We have a driver coming out of Yonsao at the moment. That is S. Berman. What can he do from this 8th position at the moment? Heading up the hill, Junkai and Nismo have the front row on lock, it seems, right now, as we head towards the start-finish line, towards that checkered flag, and S. Berman gains a place anyway into P7 and saves his best till last, which is exactly what we want to see here from our drivers. This looks to be Sony Interactive with the original Gran Turismo colour scheme, which I like to see here from Chaotica. More on the liveries much later, of course. Here is Team 404 Motorsport. This is the Mercedes AMG. As Jim says, new fuel and tyre settings are going to make this interesting. Jim, say more about the new tyre and fuel settings. I hadn't heard these details yet prior to the race, so please, for the benefit of our live audience and for your commentator, let me know what these new settings are. Here comes Mercury, and it's no faster, unfortunately. So we will take the impression here that it is going to be Junkai and Nismo ahead of Copa and Floody on the circuit. This isn't quite the Predator I was expecting to see today from the video that I was seeing. Yeah, this is not the livery I was expecting from what I saw online earlier in the week. Here is your qualifying result. There are 132.291 for Junkai ahead of Nismo in the light purple Nismo on a 32.7, 0.5 of a second near enough away from Junkai. That's incredible. So Copa in 3rd and Floody in 4th, sharing row 2. On row 3 is Don't Need Time and Zen, with Berman and Larry on row 4. Row 5 is Chaotica and Arcane. Mercury will be at the back of the grid, 1.9 seconds off the actual pace of the race so far. Driving the Crown Athlete G safety car will for the first time this season will be our Saito, and that's how things look for us. So tyre wear down to 4 times from 6 times, and fuel consumption rate at 3 times down from 5, and changing to downforce adjustments here to encourage more setup opportunities for the drivers. Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that. I just want to check on the discussion here, make sure I haven't been sent any further information on the on the safety car pit time either, which I have not, and I don't see it in the chat either, on the chat history. Anyway, we will wait for that to be announced in chat on the Discord or here on screen any moment. But that is how things are going to stand for our race to come. Looking forward to this one, and looks like Glovas is looking forward to it as well. We're going to extend the basically. That is, thank you so much, Jim. Jim explaining that we're going to be extending the stint lengths, and the safety car will be on lap 21. Relatively short laps around the Interlagos, but we still continue at our 60-minute race duration. I'm not seeing any issues with regard to weather. We are, of course, on custom weather. And we are starting, where are we? Well, we don't have a start listed as to the weather conditions. So if you were quick with the pause button, you could grab all of the session settings there. But we look forward to this one, and we're very, very ready for this to start. It is 3, 2, and 1 seconds to go until the start of season 4.2 here at Deviant Racing. Let's make sure we get everything we want on screen and nothing that we don't It's Junkai, Nismo, Copa and Floody at the front of the grid. Look out for the Ferraris to fly off the line. That Black Predator at the start of season 4.2 in Interlagos. And it's dropped the clutch and go. Expect to see that Ferrari launch fast and furious up to the start, and already into second position is Copa for Team Predator. Further back as the drivers navigate this tricky turns 1, 2 and 3 for the first time, and it is all pretty smooth and steady as they head on through the Audi in the Wunderfahrt Racing livery in the bright yellow, just walking and steadily heading through the course. But it's Junkai ahead of Copa on the very quick starting Ferrari at the start of the race. The Honda NSX ahead of the Ferrari, ahead of the Nismo in that P3. Don't Need Time is in P4, and then the two Audis are together for Team Wunderfahrt of Floody and of Zen in the red, yellow and black of Germany, of course, celebrating the Nürburgring circuit on the back window, not particularly appropriately for today's race. Then we have Team Builder in the Lamborghini Huracan and Chaotica into 9th position, but a relatively steady start from our drivers at this early point. We have lap 21 we have to get to for the first safety car, for the only safety car period, I believe, as Arcane is sitting, will be sitting soon in that pit lane and waiting for his opportunity, giving up his practice time as well. Here is Don't Need Time. You can see the tootsies of Nismo in front of him. We've got a really good, oh well, hello, with a little bump draft as well from Don't Need Time as he heads in towards the first corner. As Don't Need Time round the outside, will it be? He's trying the switchback, trying the better racing line through the following two corners, but he's really hooked up. But to tell you what, so is Copa as we see the black Ferrari with the gold accents, shades of the JPS F1 livery from the 1970s, and in towards turn 4, the Decido del Lago corner we go, and we'll just follow each of our drivers in turn, who are all playing it very safe and steady on the way through this first lap. I believe that's every driver on the hard tyre, so everybody going long and hoping to make this a one-stop, I believe, just prior to the safety car on lap 21. Looks like we've got some bovine influences on the Junkai car. It's called Team Pollo Loco, but it appears to be sponsored by Chick-fil-A today. I haven't yet had the pleasure of Chick-fil-A, as I haven't with so many of our American brands. Nismo in P3 and Don't Need Time still hot on his heels. We are looking for some fantastic racing then between the top four still, and Floody and his teammate Zen, new teammate Zen, directly behind here. Nismo hanging on with all the Americans around him as Junkai leads them uphill. Of course, Copa, French-American, racing out of America, but is Frenchman through and through. And that was an attempted overtake from S. Berman in the Lamborghini for Team Builder, and unable to make the move stick that time round, but he's right with him. So let's cut to this battle as we head on up towards Decido del Lago. Hasn't really got the overlap. He's going to need to do it on the brakes, or at least pressurize Zen into making a mistake, and it didn't come. So Berman has got a second behind him to Larry, but at the moment unable to get past Zen, who is treating these hard tyres carefully. Larry behind with Chaotica, Mercury and Arcane, your order of the day at the moment. Excuse me, earlier I was saying Arcane's in the pit lane, it's Saito in the pit lane, of course it is. So running through the next few corners we go, with Junkai leading ahead of Copa still. Drivers cognizant that it's important to get through with good track position, with good tyre and fuel management through to that safety car period on lap 21. We are 1/7 of the way there almost, so they obviously should be fueled to be sufficiently able to get to that point with 100 litres of fuel in each car at the start of the race, of course, and racing through. Nismo in that third place, and Don't Need Time right there in fourth. Any movement coming from the cars behind? Let's see, possibly Mercury on Chaotica, but the giant boat of the Mercury Mercedes AMG trying to go around the outside. Chaotica dealing pretty short shrift with that particular maneuver, and over onto the dirt on the exit of Curva del Sol. And now you can see the Ferrari starting to struggle a little bit relative to the Team Polio Loco Honda NSX in front of him and the cars behind him. Don't Need Time is drawing alongside Izzy Nismo in towards Ferradura, and next corner is the Laranjinha corner. Look for a potential move into the two right-handers, either of SA or potentially more likely through Vico Di Pato, which is the next right-hander. Don't Need Time driving for Team Sony Interactive and wearing a Warhammer theme livery today. And like I say, we will pay attention to liveries very closely when it comes to the next the safety car period. But Larry and Berman in the Team Builder Lamborghinis are line astern at the moment, but only 8th and 7th positions. Behind them, Chaotica, Mercury and Arcane at the back of the grid. Arsaito waits in the pit lane, and you can see the old school Toyota waiting for his opportunity. John Kai in first position. Oh, and we've got some good battling going on. That's Don't Need Time trying a move on Nismo. Let's ride with this Don't Need Time and see if we can't make that move. Nismo tried to close the door momentarily. It wasn't quite there for him. We'll have to go late on the brakes on the Peugeot in towards Decido del Lago, and threading the needle absolutely beautifully was Don't Need Time. Tremendous overtake there. Let's have a look at how that looked from off board. He was completely behind on the drive down, and these are not the most aerodynamic of GT3 races. The pair of them, the Nismo and the RCZ, the huge engine scoop on the roof of the Peugeot. I'm not going to say I'm happy to see the Peugeot make a return, but it's here, and we're going to have to try and enjoy it while we have it here, as Floody running in that new Audi and new Team Wunderfahrt with 52.5 minutes to go. Now, what of Nismo? Can he bring his Nissan GTR back into those podium positions here? I think that this is a Tootsie Roll livery. Nismo driving for Team NASCAR, so I imagine it's an iconic NASCAR livery. But I'm gonna have to just claim complete ignorance on classic NASCAR liveries. Here he is, running in through the corner, car number 7, Nismo, and came so close to the championship last season, led it in going into the final race, and it was so close that I called it for him and had to be corrected later on, and I won't make that mistake again as Nismo powers down the Retta Aposta, the opposite straight, as it were, as we head through that Decido del Lago corner now with Floody and Zen. Pretty calm period in the race at the moment. Astonishing joins to cheer on Floody and Zen. I'm assuming new teammates here, as the Team Wunderfahrt head through the SA corner and dropping left down the hill into the Pinerino corner. Let's join these drivers on board, shall we, as we get a feel for the elevation change around this beautiful Brazilian Grand Prix circuit. This is on board with Floody. So Globas, you'll have to give me full information as to which of the liveries you have created. I know I'm supposed to look for the motto on the back window, but you can always let me know ahead of time. It's coming out of that Yonsao corner, the last of braking zones of this Interlagos corner. Ignore the refuel mark. That is a known bug that is, frankly, never been fixed and is tremendously annoying for broadcasters. Here, there is plenty of fuel on board, nearly 3/4 of a tank on board, flooding at the moment. I tell you what, Don't Need Time looked pretty quick coming out of the previous pair of corners. And Don't Need Time is looking really good in this Peugeot at the moment, although he is using quite a bit of fuel. So with good grip and almost losing the car on the way out of Decido del Lago is that, sorry, it's not Warhammer, it's Warhawk, the livery here from Sony Interactive classic game, dogfight game for the computer game arm of the well-known electronics manufacturer. We've all probably spent far too much money and time with. We have great brand loyalty here, of course, as GT7 enthusiasts. There is Nismo in that 4th position. The Floody starting to get a bit of pressure from Zen behind at the moment, as we've gone through 1/3 of the way to that safety car period. At the moment, Floody in 5th place. His teammate just 0.3 of a second behind, as he is now going to do his best to use that slipstream on the Audi. They could, of course, do some bump drafting between teammates. I'm sure that's perfectly fine, as we saw even Nismo involved in some bump drafting earlier on. And Carnival 83 Zen, it says made in Germany with one of the stickers on the car. And there is that glorious sounding Audi, as looks like a little bit of revenge possibly on its way here. Nismo trying to get that inside line on Don't Need Time. He had it, but he couldn't get the move done on the brakes. So Don't Need Time is now on the defensive here, as he left the inside available to him in towards Ferradura. I think it's constantly a fight to get back to the apex as Nismo heads through Laranjina on the inside, and then a dive down onto the front axle on the brakes into the next corner. Don't Need Time just hanging on for the left-hander of Pinheirino corner, and well, I thought for all the world that Nismo was coming through, and you can see now Don't Need Time holding this group up all of a sudden. What is that all about? I wonder if Don't Need Time has turned the engine down, because he was using quite a lot of fuel at that stage, at least relative to the other drivers with him. So we'll see if we get any information on the situation with fuel here for Don't Need Time. Certainly using a lot of fuel, and I think on target to potentially drain the tank before we get to that safety car period, as the Wunderfeld drivers continue to battle. They obviously they need the bragging rights, and they need to stamp their authority as team leader after the first round. It becomes an uphill struggle if you lose the first round of the championship to your teammate. So it's something that's going to be playing on their minds. They need all the engineers, they need the team management right behind them, and Floody at the moment hanging on to the position over reigning champion Zen here in 6th position. No change from the previous few laps. Junkai leads, Komakopa and Don't Need Time with Nismo just a few tenths of a second away. Got very close on the previous lap, has given up a little bit of time here as we head into the next few corners, and the Bierwagen on the visor there for Team Wunderfeld. Wunder as in Wanderlust. I'm assuming the need to travel. Fert would be, I think, flying. So very much concerned with travel and flying, Team Wunderfeld. And here comes Zen to the outside around the Yunsao corner. He'll hope to try and get a little bit of a tow from the back of the pretty tall Nismo GTR in front of him, driven by former teammate 2 seasons ago, Nismo, of course. And Zen gets the nod ahead. Floody lets it go, I think. Didn't want to go too wide down through the curve 1. And I tell you what, Don't Need Time has gained time as well going through that previous sector and is hot on the heels of Comacopa, who is showing very well in this Ferrari. Comacopa tempted to pull to the inside, don't need time, getting a great run here and a little fake out move that did spook Comacopa slightly, who compromised his line through the next corner. But let's just check that I'm not talking rubbish, and that genuinely did just happen. So following Comacopa then, as we see the move from Don't Need Time, I'm sure it was a slightly early turn in and a little touch then between the two of them mid-corner, and Don't Need Time has to be incredibly careful doing that, because you unsettle a car at that point on turn-in and it can swap round on the driver incredibly quickly. Comacopa then running at the moment in second place, looking vulnerable, but John Kylie seems to have lost a little bit of ground as well. We are on lap 10, we're waiting for lap 21 for the safety car. Looks like John Kai is absolutely on target to reach the end of lap 20 and pit. Anyone with more than half a tank of fuel is in that group. Don't Need Time might end up pitting a lap early and losing track position as a result, by the look of his RCZ fuel counter there on the bottom left of the screen. Here he has another little look down into Curve 1. That could end up giving the impetus to Comacopa through the next two corners and of course out onto the Retta Aposta. The clouds are looking quite threatening here at Interlagos, and anyone who has watched Brazilian Grand Prix over the years understands how quickly the weather will change here in Interlagos. Interlagos literally meaning between the lakes, and of course the into a valley as well, and you know how quickly weather can change in a valley. Look at how dark those clouds are looking. Kuroskai saying pits will be closed for lap 20. They'll have to pit on 19 for the safety car. So there is hope for Don't Need Time, but he will still need to use this slipstream, I think, to make his way all the way to the end of lap 19 before he can pit. That would be the optimal position for a pit stop for the drivers. Some drivers using the Deviant Racing strip over the top of the windscreen, some not. Of course, the requirement is that you use the Deviant Race numbers, the red numbers here for GTD, as you can see the 72 on Comacopa's car, and we use, I think it's green for GTD. This is for the GTDPro, sorry, the red ones. And running uphill we go. Comacopa in second place behind John Kai. Then we have Don't Need Time, who is half a second further back. Then is Nismo and Zen. And the drivers just opening out a few gaps here and there. Floody, Berman and Lowry, all certainly within striking distance of one another here. The top 8 have separated by 5 seconds from the rear half of the field. No difference in strategy, there's no excuses in that regard, as Chaotica running 9th in the Gran Turismo livery, Mercury in 10th, and Arcane in 11th. So two groups of race drivers we have for you, the top 8 and the rest. Junkai now doing enough, but the gaps have ebbed and flowed between this top 8 throughout the course of the first part of this race. 41 minutes and 41 seconds to go, and at the moment Don't Need Time looking good in the Peugeot RCZ, and I think on target for that lap 19. Of course, any fuel you leave in the car prior to the pit stop is a bit of a waste, but you can only push the car so hard and so long into a race. So if your car is particularly fuel efficient, there's not much you can do about it unless you want to crank extra downforce on. And as we were saying, as Jim was saying earlier on, that he managed to we have changed the system so that the drivers can now use downforce, which is brilliant. So they can have a set of difference between teammates, something to speculate on. Kuros Kai, big thank you for the tip there. Tips are open, as Kuros Kai has found, and that is very much appreciated. Thank you so much for that one. Bongit saying let's go chicken, so clearly cheering on El Pollo Loco, which I'm choosing to read in a Spanish form. S. Berman going very slowly through curve 1. What happened here to S. Berman? Well, let's join him in chase cam. Was this a miscalculation fairly early turn in, it was contact with Floody, so he has decided to give the place back before the stewards tell him off, and then ending up letting Larry, his teammate, through in the 77. So that's very interesting, as Larry now has the opportunity to attack Floody with a clean conscience and a clean rap sheet. S. Berman just being a little bit cagier there and not wanting to cause an accident. I don't think he was going for a move. I think he just misjudged braking zone on the way into curve 1. So don't need time following through in that third position. We are around 2/3 of the way through to the safety car period, which is the full lap of lap 21. Lap 20, the pit lane closed, so we need to get to lap 19 if we can for all the drivers. Don't need time will have a bit of a challenge in that regard. Here is Komakopa. Love that from Kuros guy. Larry would attack Floody with any kind of conscience, clear or otherwise. Down we go into curve 1. No moves coming there, and Larry at the moment not launching an attack. So just keeping his powder dry for now before he presumably launches one on Floody later on. I'm unfamiliar with the team builder company. You'll have to give me some info on that one. Do make sure, if you're watching and you're a member of Deviant Racing and any of our teams, I'm more than happy to share content in the pre-show for the GTDPro. If you've got livery unveilings or some such, keep the music, YouTube audio library and copyright free, or I will mute it ahead if you can't get round to doing that. But let me have it by the Saturday prior to the race, and I will try and share any team related content that you would like in the pre-show. And of course, let me know any team changes, any findings from previous races, rivalries or otherwise. Do let me know on Discord if you can, and I will do my best to help it build into the show overall. Really quite liking these Audis. It is very busy and asymmetrical, the livery, but it is really quite interesting as well. I hope we've got Gus and Alexandra watching. They haven't spoken up yet, but I'm looking forward to hearing Gus's review and favourites of those new liveries. Is he a Tootsie Roll fan? Does he appreciate classic game liveries? Does he like Chick-fil-A? All these questions are very important to be answered, so hopefully we'll hear from Gus and Alexandra later on. The top three now really getting very close to one another, covered by 0.7 of a second maximum between all three of them. Look at the sky, and we'll just get a feel for what that looks like on board with Don't Need Time, where you can see the hazy sunshine in the distance on the way through Decido del Lago. But at one point you are definitely going to turn right here, and then suddenly everything gets very dark and dim and worrying, I think, for our tremendous top-tier GTD Pro drivers here at Deviant Racing League. This is the start of a 7-race season 4.2, and as I said, I'm very grateful to be invited back to voice up your tremendous season here with the group. John Kai leading by just 0.7 of a second. It's lap 15. It's minute 24 of the 60. As Red says, wrong league, but go Komakopa. That's great to hear. I'm great to see that Red's with us here as well. Red, a driver for SVR, and we'll be seeing him later on. That would look like a little fake out to the pit lane from Komakopa for a moment, as he hears his name being mentioned in the universe anyway, and his teammate Red. Komakopa driving the Ferrari here as he doesn't do. He's driving the Supra in SVR. So Kuros Kai saying someone drug Jung Kai, then that would make him a junkie if he were drugged. As Jung Kai doing nothing wrong at the head of the field at the moment, and not suffering too much in the way of fuel usage. This is Komakopa, who is suffering at the moment from a lack of grip relative to Don't Need Time, who I think could really do with running in the in the wheel tracks and in the wake, and that's Komakopa off on the marbles and running wide. Unfortunately, Komakopa then down into third position. Let's have a look at that running again. Now, was it a bump and run here from Don't Need Time? There was certainly contact on the way out of Descida del Lago. And then, no, a misjudgment on the brakes potentially. And that was actually really well held from Komakopa, because you get those two wheels out on the grasscrete on the exit of the Laranjinha corner, and it becomes a really difficult job to get back to the racetrack without a spin. He does it successfully, but drops a position then to P3. Just don't need time, with perhaps only something in the region of 10% fuel remaining. Is on lap 16, about to start lap 17. He'll be hoping he has 2 laps of fuel remaining in the tank here, 2 complete laps of fuel remaining, and heading then down into turn 1 we go. Junkai, much more fuel on board, and Don't Need Time doesn't look like he is driving a car that is being pegged back by a fuel mixture less than optimal. I'm sure he's feeling pretty confident. Look at that, as the fuel burns away. That is a new fastest sector for Don't Need Time. Kuraskai enjoying that. And so Junkai doing incredibly well here at the moment here in Interlagos. I love the way that in Deviant Racing League the track specific characteristics really seem to expose the driver's strengths and weaknesses. It is a phenomenally evenly matched league. You can never really guess in the top 8 to 10 drivers who it is who's going to be the victor ahead of the race. And thank you, that's very kind, Aussie. It's great to have you here to watch live with us as well. And Larry in P8. Chaotica has separated himself from the chasing pack here and is closing in on that top 8 with his Luigi helmet on board, which is not particularly on brand. So let's have a think about that, Chaotica. You've got a Luigi helmet in Team Sony Interactive. I do not approve of a break to the brands there. And Team NASCAR in the Nismo with the alternate black Tootsie Roll livery here, getting out onto the dirt and dust. And I think regretting the fact that I've just chosen him to look at on screen. Back to the action at the head of the field then, with 32 3/4 minutes to go. Don't Need Time running nicely and flying past our static camera position. You forget just how quick these GT3 cars can be when you watch these movable cameras and you watch a lot of head-on camera positions, which tends to foreshorten straights and slow the genuine speed of the cars. As soon as you get a static camera there, you can really pick up how quick they are coming on out of the Descida del Lago in towards Laranjinha now, and then on to the slower SA corner to the right. Chaotica keeps forgetting to change helmets after beer carts, says Saito. I think I will deduct Webbo style points for that, actually, for a mismatch, an off-brand helmet choice, I'm afraid to say. I think Izzy there just really reaching for an explanation. I think Saito's got the truth of it. From Isaac there. I think that was very kind of you to try and reach for an explanation, but I think you found hidden meaning where it doesn't really belong. Larry, running in 7th, has found himself in no man's land, with a gap in front of 4 seconds, a gap behind of 2.5, and into the pits at the end of lap 18. That's a surprise for me. Comes Junkai. I thought he would have the fuel, so Don't Need Time Zen and Floody all in. Komakopa going round for the extra lap. The pit lane will close at the end of this lap, or will it? Is that it now closed? Pit on 19, said Kuros Kai earlier. So this lap is relevant, and the safety car will come out at the end of this lap. We'll see if Saito has been able to both enter and will then exit the pits sufficiently to avoid a penalty on their car. And Komakopa getting slidey into that Ferradura Laranjinha double right. So Komakopa for Team Predator, and I'm Not entirely sure which Predator they are referencing here on the number 1, or position 1 car of number 72. Meanwhile, number 7 of Team Nismo for the NASCAR, the new NASCAR team. Possibly some clear sky showing up here on the circuit. Let's see, are we going to get Saito getting that tyre change underway and out of the pit lane? Now we're waiting for that to happen, as Komakopa will pit off the hard tyres. So will Nismo, almost crossing the white line on entry into the pit lane. That time in comes Larry from the Lamborghini as well for Team Builder, as does S. Berman. Mercury roaring on through in the AMG, excuse me, and running low on fuel. He'll hope to be able to run under the safety car now then, without pitting until after the safety car, and freeing up less than half of the race to run on the medium tyre, I believe. And here is the pit stop underway for Predator Racing. And the gravity-fed fuel line, very, very slow refueling happening. And there is Mercury then for Team 404 Motorsport. Got that right, haven't I? Yes, indeed. I'm unsure what usually they use band names as reference to a music streaming provider. So Kuroskai saying no passing now, but if you're out of fuel, others can pass during safety car laps. So what is Mercury going to do? He's got a reasonable amount of fuel remaining on the car. So I will talk a little bit in a moment then about, as the driver's probably not fighting at this stage. There's little point fighting hard. Although Zen looks like he would like that extra place off the Chick-fil-A, of the Tootsie NASCAR of Arcane. As they head up towards the start of lap 21, our Saito team mechanic still getting ready. The fuel going in. I'm quite sure why we need to refuel a safety car. It doesn't really need 100 litres to run the race. Here he comes then, our Saito, and we'll be going some here to try and get out in front of Mercury. Let's follow Mercury then. This is a Glovass livery all day long then, with the motto on the back. That is perfect timing from Saito, although Mercury shouldn't really pass. That should be the safety car line then. So I think Saito not really getting on with it. Mercury is the race leader, and for me, neither of the drivers quite doing the right thing. I think Mercury should have held back, because he is gaining track position here for a moment. Let's just go into then the Team 404 Motorsport situation. 404, I believe, is for companies that have gone defunct and are no longer with us. But quite why that ties into Rage Against the Machine, I'm not sure. I thought they were still a going concern as a band, but Team 404 Motorsport with a Rage Against the Machine livery today. I do enjoy a bit of Rage Against the Machine myself, so I appreciate that. And a very stylish, unusual colour scheme here. Now, why is he going so much quicker? Well, he's doing safety car speed. He's on the absolute fumes of fuel remaining. Now that is really interesting. So as long as he doesn't go over 70 miles an hour, I think he could make a claim that he has done the right thing. So that is causing me to scratch my head slightly. This is the Tootsie roll, I think, of Team NASCAR in the lavender colour, I guess we would call it, with a floral motif as well, and Camping World sponsorship. This then the Predator livery. Now, it's very stylish. It looks amazing, and I love the fact that they've changed the Webbo sticker to be the gold colours. It is very, very stylish indeed, but not quite what I was expecting from Team Predator, unless there is a black and gold natural Predator that I'm unaware of. Maybe a snake, but I think we had enough snakes last season. So I need a little bit of of feedback from that one. I was expecting natural predators in the animal kingdom. Chick-fil-A sponsoring El Pollo Loco today. I hope we're going to get different chicken restaurants. That would be amazing, if you can call these things restaurants, as Arcane pits now in as he heads into the pit lane. Then we have Team Wunderfert with the Bierwagen, incredibly German livery. They have not managed to get, I think, any beer sponsorship, but they're showing the Audi Nürburgring livery on the back there. And yeah, really liking that bit of Duolingo, because they're learning German as they race to make sure that they can compel their Audis schnell in that Audi R8. So Kuroskai saying that he went past the safety car and didn't wait for it, but I thought the safety car had slowed to an almost stop before the control line at the end of the pit lane. So I think there's a case to answer, potentially. Anyways, Team Sony Interactive in the number 26 of Don't Need Time is wearing the Warhawk livery from the Dogfight game. Red saying, yeah, Germany mentioned, so Red's got a new team favourite, I think, here. That is Zen and Floody in the black, red and yellow of Germany. Then the second of the Persio RCZs on track at the moment is the original Gran Turismo Racing livery from Gran Turismo 1, the OG. Lovely, love to see that. And very specific to the French manufacturer as well, the red, white and blue. Do like a bit of that. Team Builder. Again, I need a little bit of guidance as to what Team Builder are. I can look it up later on, and there's something to do with Matrix on there as well. I don't know if it's got something to do with fitness equipment, because S. Berman owns a fitness company, I believe, with either a very similar looking brother or a twin brother. As here he has a sort of bronze and red edition version of the same livery setup. And we've talked about the Mercury Mercedes, the Merc in the Merc. I love this, Nismo and a Nismo and Merc in a Merc. Love to see it. This is the NASCAR Tootsie alternate livery, as if looked through a set of Venetian blinds. And then the new safety car design. A little bit underwhelming from previous seasons. It's just a silver car with some stickers on it. But I will definitely say thank you for the Webbo sticker, quite prominent there as well. So appreciate that from our safety car, a new safety car as well, as we get ready to go racing once again at the line. It is lap 23. We have 23 minutes to go, perfectly timed as Nismo leads them away then, ahead of Komakopa and Junkai now down into third position, and working the wheel hard is Larry against Floody side by side, and exactly as predicted earlier in the chat, as the sun starts to set here at Interlagos, everybody is slowed down due to the concertina effect through the next few corners, and check out this restart then from the drivers, and we will join the Mercedes of Mercury as we wait to see who is going to get the inside line. There goes the NASCAR Tootsie of car 52 on the inside, leaving the racing room to the outside for the Lamborghini of Berman, who basically claims that in the end. Chaotica deposed all the way to the back as a result of that switch around, but it's the racing medium tyres now the order of the day. Don't Need Time trying to grab his way in towards the apex again, and the Mercedes, boom, and we're playing pinball here with cars. Don't Need Time ends up the one heavily compromised through that sequence, as Arcane lets him back through, showing great sportsmanship. And let's see if we can see exactly who did the dirty here. And it's Arcane misjudging the braking. Bish, bash and bosh go the cars, and that was it then for Team Warhawk liveried Sony Interactive for Don't Need Time. That is a nightmare of a restart then for him, unfortunately, but did put himself in a difficult position as having not made it to the key lap on the fuel. And he had a reasonable amount of warning that was going to happen. Medium tyres then, the order of the day for the top group. Well, for the whole set of drivers, it's very unusual to see them all match strategy here. But Komakopa still in second, but the drivers in front and behind have swapped around through the course of the safety car period. Junkai down to third and keen to get back into the lead, because you've allowed Nismo now to get clean air on that front splitter. And that is a dangerous situation for our season and performances. Nismo was dominant through the majority of season 4.1, eventually losing out to Zen on the final round only. But certainly Junkai, having led this race for the majority of the period prior to the safety car, is now going to be worried about the fact that Nismo is getting away. Komakopa unable at this warm-up stage, or unwilling to push the tyres to the state where he could be competitive as they run through then. I don't know, Red, I'd love to, if Red is still watching, we need some more German company sponsorship of the Audi R8. I'm thinking of companies like Bosch need to be on the car for me. And you can suggest them some contacts in DTM perhaps to get some extra stickers on that red, yellow and black entry for the Audi R8. Certainly I'm confused by the presence of the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit map on the rear window. Let's have a look at that close up, because then we're not going to the Nürburgring this season, so that is confusing me slightly. But anyway, Zen is in 4th place in that Audi that he's trying to get used to. Larry in 5th, Floody in 6th, got Berman in 7th and Chaotica in 8th, Mercury in 9th, and I think a question mark over whether his 9th place will stand or he'll pick up a penalty later on. Donny Time in 10th, and Arcane at the back, having had an accident with Donny Time and releasing him back in front within very sporting action there, compromising both their races but making sure he didn't rejoin in front. Obviously an accident and nothing in it in terms of malice, but Komakopa now starting to warm up that Ferrari, I think, on its tyres, and the sun is setting beautifully, but the question remains to me whether the dew point of the cloud cover will be reached and we will start to get some rain at the end of this race. Saito giving us some details, asked if that was Merck all the way out in front and then got told to wait, so was confused, and Merck was likely confused by a 25-mile-an-hour safety car. Yeah, that is kind of my feeling. Mercury unsure, but he knew he was in first. He ought to, you could argue that he ought to bear some responsibility for then queuing behind the safety car. He has essentially gained a little bit as a result of that, as Nismo breaks the toe to the inside line. Unclear quite why he felt the need to do that. That was quite far back that he chose to make that manoeuvre. And Junkai looking really strong then at this stage, keen to get that Honda NSX up to speed. Komakopa fully defensive to the point where Junkai didn't even follow here. As Kuroskai is saying, it wasn't his first rodeo, so it wasn't the first time he was leading a race prior to a safety car. Are you telling me, Kuroskai? I'm sure that's the case. But Junkai under the dark clouds and evening sun then here in Interlagos as they head through the Ferradura Laranjinha sequence down into SA, the right-hander. Then you've got the achingly slow Pinarino corner as the headlights start to look more prominent here on the cars. Red is giving me all the companies here. Siemens, Audi, DHL. DHL would be beautiful on this one. That is perfect. DHL would be perfect for this, absolutely. Deutsche Bahn, Deutsche Bank. What about the Deutsche Post? I think you'd need Deutsche Post as well. That's a good yellow German brand, as Junkai. So I hope the drivers and designers are watching, because our German viewer here making all the suggestions we need as Junkai runs on. Here it is, that German special livery then, and Larry now looking good in the Lamborghini for Team Build Up Racing. 16 minutes to go. Who's your money on, chat? Let me know. And is it too cringeworthy of me to address you all as chat? I will try and address you as my race fans, my audience, but yeah, I don't want to cross a line there. So let me know if it's okay or not. Here is the Huracan of Larry then. The wedge shape Huracan with the glowing front discs, headlight reflection off the asphalt, and the mist descending on Interlagos. You see one of those lakes in the background there. Larry looking great out there at the moment in P5. Larry splitting his time at the moment between racing here in Deviant on the on GT7, and I hope that the league might be mentioning to the new Black Flag Racing ACC League, where many of our drivers also appear on the off weeks on a Saturday, fairly similar time, but on a Saturday. Actually, it's more like 2 hours later on a Saturday, racing on ACC, and that is no mean feat to split your time between two distinctly different sim platforms. Chaotica is in 8th ahead of Mercury's P9. He wasn't flashing his alternate lights there, it was just as the camera reflection. Don't need time. Has had his race pretty much ruined, unfortunately, by contact with Arcane earlier on. Nismo appears pretty comfortable here with 14.5 minutes left on the clock in the Nismo GTR. Kuroskai saying he has led once before, but only once prior to a safety car. I'm sure John Kai has done it more often. So let me know your feelings on these new liveries, won't you? As John Kai chases down Komakopu. We also have Larry making a nuisance of himself behind Zen. Larry's already been able to pass one of the Team Van der Vaart drivers. Oh, some more companies. Do you know, I didn't know Nivea was a German company, but Fanta would be good as well. Beck's Boss, Kaufland, Tischbo. Wow, okay. Kronbacher. I want a good German beer, Red. That's what I'm looking for, is a good German beer on the side of an Audi in a German flag coloured race entry. That's my thinking, is what we need. Here is on board in the gyro cam with John Kai. You see the elevation change. He's got a really good slipstream here as we head uphill. Will we see a defence from Komakopa? Will we see a movement to the inside line, or at least to the middle of the racetrack? And here we go then. We just navigate this one slowly but surely. Can Komakopa hold on? Oh, not quite. As the Audi on a the Audi of Zen just screams on by. Wow, that was clumsy from both drivers potentially. Let's have another look here at the Polio Loco car. And he had room on the inside. Komakopa trying to turn in, and then watch for the screaming yellow Audi on the outside of Zen, who sides his way past Komakopa. Larry can't quite believe his luck, I think, here, getting hold of at least one of those positions. No, he managed to get two of them on the run down. Reta Aposta will stay with this then, as Larry down the inside. Should be easy pickings here. Careful on the brakes, careful not to make any contact. And Larry up into third place, as we saw then post hoc. Komakopa, no damage on his car. Junkai, no damage on his. It was terribly gentle contact then into turn one, but it was sufficient to turn around Komakopa, who only just managed to stop through Zenelton, says Isaac. Yeah, very nice. I love to see that. And that yellow and red race car looking faster as it screams past other drivers. Go Larry, says Guros Kai, through no real credit of his own, as here comes John Kai now to have another go at Komakopa. Komakopa staying left this time, not going for the gap. Larry even further left. I think we'll find ourselves boxed in here from John Kai, unable to take advantage here with drivers on either side of the racetrack. But let's see if we can get a better run coming through the Curva del Sol. Komakopa has the best run though, I think, of the three of them, and Larry is defending for his life down the inside. Let's see Komakopa, he's too far back, is he, to make a room, to make maneuver? And what about this one from Junkai? Surely the door was open to go all the way through. Komakopa still has his hazards on from spamming every button on the wheel as he tried to recover the car earlier on, thanks to that contact in towards Ferradura. And Laranhinia, we're flirting with disaster once again as we almost make contact and roast our front splitter of the exhaust overrun of that Ferrari that licks the flames out the rear exits of the Scuderia car for Team Predator, and wow, it's certainly getting very tasty in the final quarter of our race. Beers would be Bitburger, that's probably the one I'm thinking of. Veltins, Bex, Erdinger, Paulaner, and Paulaner Lupse. I've not heard of those ones before, but I think Bitburger is probably the one that I've got my mind on for the colour scheme, and a good Germanic Gothic livery on Bitburger as well, which we want to see. Komakopa versus Junkai, round 3, as Junkai going to the outside now. He'll have the better braking position. Is Komakopa tempted to give a little bit back? No, not this time. We saw that in the finale of last season when Komakopa got bumped and ran, and then did the same back. But certainly no malice in that from Junkai, who's going to have to be careful exiting the corner that far offline. Will he pick up a penalty? He will. There it is. 1 second off throttle for Junkai, grabbing too much immediately after an overtake, and we see that so often with our racers here in Gran Turismo 7. When they finally make a pass stick, they then transgress track limits because they're having to readjust then to having a really good line through the next corner. So Komakopa will be able to pick this position back again. Junkai will be vulnerable not just to Komakopa for Team Predator, but for Floody and even Berman for further back. So here we go. Wait for that position then for Junkai. He will ghost, so Komakopa won't have to take avoiding action. The sporting thing to do is to peel to off the racing line on the way through. But I imagine Junkai with bigger problems to settle here. There he goes, off throttle, and here comes Floody. He will have amazing momentum up the hill. Nismo leads Zen. How often did we say that in season 3.3, I think, I want to say, 2 seasons ago. Oh, here we go, a 3 wide action down into the corner. Is that going to favour Floody on the way through? It does just about, and Junkai holding on at the moment. Berman sticking the nose in. That's Junkai wide, very wide, in through the Senna S, and out of Curva del Sol we go. Can we pick up that toe now? On board with S. Berman for Team Builder. This could be a good late race overtake from S. Berman as they take their time to get through the corner. Unfortunately though, that's Junkai off the circuit, and I wonder if S. Berman feels like he needs to give that position back after contact. Let's have a look. How much room was there left for Junkai to turn in? He's well ahead here at the apex. Oh, it's a late corner bump, and Junkai hitting the outfield, and I think Berman is going to release. He's going to wait for him to give this place back, but they are both dropping down the order as a result of that contact, and that's what we saw earlier with Don't Need Time and with Arcane. Let's have a look at the lead of the race then with 7 minutes to go. Nismo is out front by 3.7 seconds ahead of Zen. And then we have Larry in P3, hot on the heels of Zen, still getting used to that Audi R8, and it would be a popular victory, a popular result if Larry can get himself up off the 3rd step and onto the 2nd step of this season opening podium today. Well, if you can't drug Junkai, apparently just nerfing him will work just the same. I mean, he's done a little bit of it himself. He's hardly an innocent party today. And Larry runs over our camera position, and we get a great run out of Curva del Sol. Will we be so far ahead here into Decido del Lago? Zen slow on the exit, but just about hanging on. How about this for side-by-side action as we head then down in towards Laranjinha? Sorry, Ferradura first, and then Larry staying ahead as he approaches the corner of his gamer tag. Laranjinha, perhaps I should call it. That is the problem of getting out on the wide line. You just don't get the grip to the apex, and Zen making it his way back very nicely, but Larry holding on to the inside line. Larry in 2nd, Zen in 3rd, and can Larry put a gap here on the reigning champion Zen? Who has changed vehicle and team, of course, as most drivers have in this season. Nismo leads in his Nismo we've got Mercury still in his Merc in P7, Zen in 3rd, and Komakopa out there in 4th place as we have hit the evening sunset. The sun has fully set, I think, pretty much now, as we can start to see the stars in the sky here at Interlagos for the final 5 minutes. Komakopa in the Ferrari. We have got, I think that is 4 different teams inside the top 4, which is brilliant to see. You absolutely want to see getting hold of some you absolutely want to see seeded teams. You want to see some from the top, some from the bottom in every league and every race. Don't forget, we have combined team standings here in Deviant, and the race is still to come. Straight after this one, we will get the stream started for the GTD second tier of GT races, and they are also, of course, in the same one as well. Don't forget, and Kuros Kai reminding us that we are in, we have GT Sport running at the same time as well, which is more of an invitational, more of a cup style. It's not so much of a season running, but we have the 3 tiers of racing now. GT Sport has joined. I really want to rename GT Sport because of the previous game that we were all enjoying before, GT7, but that's down to the admins to make a decision on. I'm sure there's a spin. There's a little spin going on, and it's S. Berman late into the race. Let's see how that one came about. Well, I hope it's not contact again. That's S. Berman on the inside. He's gone out onto the marbles. All looking okay for now, and then just boom from Mercury round, and S. Berman dropping 3 places and struggling then to get the car pointed in the right direction, and he will certainly be appealing to the stewards later for that one. Down to the back of the grid for S. Berman. Don't need time meanwhile, with that post-safety car issue, is now back up to P7 in the Peugeot. Junkai just behind him. That is a real turnaround of fortunes for these drivers. And you've got Chaotica also in the Peugeot ahead of him for Team Sony Interactive. But it's battle time for Don't Need Time and for Junkai at this stage. Noah Scholes says, makes me want to join a GT7 league. Well, why don't you? Join Deviant. There's a league in this Discord. A link to this league in the description of the video, and certainly you can access the league's YouTube channel as well and find your way in. I'm sure they are open to new members. Tell them Webbo sent you. If you're a good driver. If you're not, then don't. But or at least a clean driver. We don't care about ability. We care about cleanliness, I think, more than anything in league racing. In private leagues anyway. And Mercury in P9, Arcane in 10th at the moment. S. Berman, as I mentioned, down at the back of the grid. Nismo leading by 3 clear seconds now. Larry has opened out that gap in the much favoured prior to the recent BOP nerf position there of in the Lamborghini in 2nd place, Zen in 3rd, and Komakopa in that 4th place as Aussie cheering on Nismo, and it's great because the guys here swap teams all the time, and they end up with new teammates every mini season that we have. Usually get 3 seasons in over a calendar year. This is season 4.1, 7 races. Only the top 6 scores count, which is a nightmare for a commentator, but is nice and fair for drivers who can't commit to full-time seats, or life takes over. So I totally get it. It's just hard for a commentator to read, especially one with a poor mathematical brain, like I proved mine is in the season finale last season. Nismo leading Larry. So the Dutchman ahead of all these Americans, although, as I've mentioned, Komakopa is a Frenchman, just fighting out of Florida right now. Komakopa growing up on the outskirts of Le Mans. So always goes well, or wants to go well in any races we have at that fabulous circuit. Komakopa in that 4th position. He races in VR, as does Izzy, who we saw in the chat earlier on. Last lap coming up, says Kuros Kai. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. As we're into the final minute of proceedings, we may even get some drivers finishing outside of the final lap. So we'll go on to start lap 37 as we do. And let's just see, how far back is S. Berman? That's going to be close, but I think we'll be okay. We might finish in formation then. I'll just check out S. Berman as we close out this race. S. Berman, 20 seconds to go. I think should be fairly comfortably past the start-finish line. So we'll go over to Nismo, who leads by 3.1 seconds. And we'll be hoping that that he can take this home. Yeah, we definitely did start the final lap then with our rearmost driver. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. It's Don't Need Time hunting down former leader Jann, who has reversed those 2 positions very recently and unlocked a bit of pace. But who would have thought Jann down in 7th after leading the entire first half of our race up to the safety car period. Nismo has precious little left to do here on the circuit, as we see Larry, Zen, and then Komakopa come through following, but Nismo saving his best till last at the end of the race, as he so often does. I don't know how he always does it, but he's always right there at the death of the races to finish out at the in the podium positions. Nismo fires out of the final braking zone. Yon Sao, he looks up to the heavens at the constellations above the Interlagos circuit here, just outside of Sao Paulo, and Nismo heading up the hill, flashing of the lights, and it's a win for the season opener here in Interlagos for Nismo. Larry crosses the line in, well, I would say style, but frankly that can cause a yellow flag for other drivers. Larry second, Zen third, with Komakopa fourth, Floody, Chaotica, Jann and Don't Need Time making out the top 8, only just. Mercury down in 9th, maybe an asterisk on against Mercury's name. Arcane will come through in 10th. S. Berman has to finish 11. We thank our safety car driver today, but Nismo is your victor in the appropriately named Nissan GTR Nismo, and he will love that in a Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard era McLaren race suit and a Red Bull helmet, so a big mix there of favourite drivers. Clean race, up 1 place for Nismo, and top draw racing from him. Here we have the provisional standings then with a finish time of just under an hour and 1 minute. It's Nismo in the Tutsi NASCAR ahead of Larry for Team Builder. Team Wunderfeld are represented by Zen, the reigning champion, only P3 today, but scoring great points for the team, ahead of Komakopa for the Predator Ferrari in P4. Floody is in 5th with Chaotica for Team Sony Interactive in the Peugeot RCZ in P6. Jann led the race for the first half, finished 7th in the Honda NSX for Team Pollo Loco, and Don't Need Time also of Sony Interactive in P8. Mercury, Arcane, Berman finished outside of the top 8 for today, at least provisionally anyway. We'll see what happens later on. Noah Shao says, it says the link is invalid. Contact one of the guys here, or I'll try and get you a new link for the league stored on this video post hoc. But stay with us and we'll try and get that for you. But for now anyway, thank you for watching. Remember to tune straight back in. The stream will start momentarily for the GTD second tier of racing, and then later on we have even more racing on the channel. We're going triple back-to-back commentary today, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later on. But thanks so much for watching. Thank you for having me back here for this season. Tips are open, and it's great to see you all. Thank you for watching. We will catch you on the next race day.